La 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 la. I don't know. It's kind of high. It's pretty high in my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Down.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. Down again.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. All right, go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great.
It's the name of the game.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside of Goldfarb Gymnasium as a Sweet 16 berth is on the line here in the D3 Hoops Men's Basketball 2020 NCAA Tournament. Connor Newcomb alongside Akiva Poppers here on HopTV as we get you a matchup between Penn State Harrisburg. They played Cinderella yesterday, took out the top seed Hopkins in double overtime against the Yeshiva Maccabees, who had an incredible offensive performance, 102 points yesterday, and leading the offensive trail for the Macs yesterday, Akiva, was Ryan Terrell, 41 points. He missed only 3 shots. If he does that again, this Yeshiva team is going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, Terrell did it only on 16 shots, 13 for 16 shooting, 7 from 9 from outside. But for the Macs, it doesn't have to be Terrell. Any of these players can step up and go off on any given night. So while Ryan Terrell may be one of the stories from the first day of the tournament, don't let that get into your head. Any of the Macs can score 30 on any night.
And speaking of scoring 30 or more, for Penn State Harrisburg to get that big upset yesterday, they needed 45 points from Danye Baylor-Carroll. There was a stretch down the stretch of that game where Baylor-Carroll scored 34 of 38 points in a stretch for Penn State Harrisburg. If those two are going up against each other tonight, this could be one heck of a game to watch.
Definitely could. Baylor-Carroll was excellent last night. I do want to say, though, his shots, he took 27. So it wasn't exactly like Terrell, but fantastic player. I believe that Terrell is going to be guarding him. Baylor-Carroll is 5'7", Terrell is 6'7". That is something to look out for tonight, whether or not Terrell's size can hinder Baylor-Carroll's ability to get off those step-back threes.
And it should be a really good matchup. A couple of guys who dropped more than 40 in the first round, and it's a big one. For both of these teams, it would be their first ever Sweet 16 berth. We're going to find out which one gets there to next weekend when we come back right here on HopTV.
Again, the second round action of the 2020 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship. Tonight's game features the Penn State-Harrisburg Nittany Lions versus the Yeshiva University Maccabees. Let's meet the starters. At forward for Penn State, a 6'3" sophomore from Palmyra, Pennsylvania, number 12, Pedro Rodriguez. At forward for Yeshiva, a 6'5" senior from Lawrence, New York, number 4, Gabriel Leifer. At forward for the Nittany Lions, a 6'7" sophomore from Clarksville, Maryland, number 22, Dylan Daniels. At forward for the Maccabees, a 6'4" senior from Baltimore, number 33, Daniel Katz. At guard for the Nittany Lions, a 5'7" sophomore from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, number 2, Daniel Carroll. At guard for the Maccabees, a 6'7" senior from Los Angeles, number 11, Ryan Carroll. At guard for the Maccabees, for the Nittany Lions, a 5'10" senior from Jersey City, New Jersey, number 5, Zachary Scott. At guard for the Maccabees, a 5'11" junior from Los Angeles, number 15, Aitan Halpert. At guard for the Nittany Lions, a 6'3" freshman from Brooklyn, number 11, Nate Curry. At guard for the Maccabees, 6'3" senior from Los Angeles, number 20, Cynthia Halpert. Introducing the head coaches for Penn State-Harrisburg, Don Friday. For the Yeshiva Maccabees, Elliot Steinmetz. The officials for tonight's game are Ralph Brett, Gary Duda, Robert Bennett, and Mike Triplett. The official score is Greg Konar. The scoreboard operator is Sophia Cohen. The clock operator is Joe Cruz. The shot clock operator is Jimmy Jackson.
And welcome back inside of Goldfarb Gymnasium, getting you set for NCAA Tournament's second round action in the Division III Big Dance here on HopTV. Connor Newcomb alongside Akiva Poppers for this one, and Akiva, we talked about it in the open, but these are two offensive-minded teams, couple of teams that average over 80 points per game. Both teams scored over 100 yesterday. Now, for Penn State-Harrisburg, they played in 2 overtimes, makes it a little easier, but two great offensive teams. I think we're expecting a shootout in this one.
Yeah, the Macs putting up 86.2 points a game. Penn State-Harrisburg, 83.1. These teams are out here to score, and they are out here to score big.
Penn State-Harrisburg in the all-white, Yeshiva in the all-black uniforms, and we are off from Baltimore. The winner of this one will advance to their program's first ever Sweet 16 next weekend. They would travel to Virginia to take on Randolph-Macon, the opponent already set with Randolph-Macon winning their second round matchup earlier today. For Penn State, they go inside to Dylan Daniels. He gets the bucket and one, and the big man had a huge game yesterday in the upset over Hopkins.
Yeah, Daniels 14 points, 6 for 11 from the floor, really got them going in the first half. He's really the only big presence on the floor for Penn State-Harrisburg. Everyone else who starts is 6'3" or less.
And for Daniels, really an inside guy, as you said, but he shot jumpers well yesterday, made 2 3-pointers, also added 12 rebounds and 4 blocks. Remember, he is the nation's leader in block shots by a wide margin as Terrell tries to shoot over him, and the rebound goes to Nate Curry.
Yeah, something we didn't see much yesterday. Terrell 13 for 16 from the floor in the Max win against WPI, but an early miss from mid-range.
And here's the star from yesterday for Penn State-Harrisburg. It's Danye Baylor-Carroll, but he misses the layup at the rim. Baylor-Carroll, 45 points in yesterday's upset win over the Blue Jays. He was 12 for 27 from the field, but the big number, 9 of 18 from deep. They go to Terrell, now swing it to Leifer with 14 to shoot. Leifer goes right into the shot blocker, and Daniels has his first block of the day, but it will go out of bounds to the Max.
Yeah, and yesterday we saw Penn State basically only use a zone, and the Macs are known to pick apart zones. It'll be very fascinating to see which defenses will they go with. Will they go man-to-man? Will they go zone throughout the game? Will they put out some junk defenses? Something to look out for.
And we apologize for the little bit of difficulty we're having with the score bug here. It is 3-0 Penn State-Harrisburg, 18:45 to play in this one. 3 to shoot. Terrell puts up a 3, and he hits right in the face of the sophomore Pedro Rodriguez, who is making just his 8th start of the season today. Came off the bench yesterday, but Terrell answers with a 3.
Yeah, and Ryan Terrell bumped up his three-point shooting from 38% to 44% in one day, which is just ridiculous. Ryan known for his post moves, but also can jack from outside.
They go outside to Daniels. He shot it well yesterday from 3, but misses right there. He was 2 for 4 from deep yesterday. Had come in on the season 3 of 14 from long range. Halpert into the corner. And now back up to Leifer. Gabriel Leifer had a good game yesterday, but not his usual numbers of production, and a lot had to do with Terrell getting most of the shots, as there's Terrell again inside, and he puts Yeshiva up 5-3 with 17:55 to play in the first half.
Yeah, and Penn State in that zone, which the Macs can just pick apart with their passing. The three-point shooting will be on tonight possibly. The two Halpert brothers, Terrell is something to look out for. Specifically, that passing and shooting Macs are not here to dribble the ball.
So there's an offensive foul against Dylan Daniels. He gets called for an illegal screen as he picks up his first. Daniels really rarely ends up in foul trouble, especially for a big guy who blocks so many shots. What makes him so good is that he doesn't really get into foul trouble. Last night he did get 2 in the first half, but then was able to play really well in the second half and ended the game, I believe, with 4 fouls, but picked up the 4th one in overtime, played most of the second half with just the 2 fouls.
Yeah, and the backup pick for Penn State is not a shooter, Asalu, so it'll be very fascinating to see how Daniels does.
Here's Curry with a long 2. He knocks it down, stepping into that one, and ties the game at 5 with 7:15 to go in the first half.
Yeah, Curry a strong shooter, 52.8% from the field this year.
Leifer passed up an open 3 and drives baseline. He is a 40% three-point shooter, but didn't take it. Instead, it's going to be Halpert, and Eitan Halpert misses, but Leifer has the offensive board, a new 20 on the shot clock. Leifer backing down Daniels. He gets the block, but Gabriel Leifer, this senior from Lawrence, New York, recovers and scores.
Yeah, and we see against that zone, it'll be easy for the Macs to pick up offensive rebounds. Johns Hopkins got many last night, 13. Macs are not known for crashing the glass, but I would not be surprised to see them do it tonight.
Baylor Carroll hits again. That's the shot that really beat Johns Hopkins last night. That fadeaway step-back 3, he'll either do it catching off a screen or create the shot himself off the dribble. But either way, he's money with that jumper, and he puts his team on top. Leifer inside. Daniels with his 3rd block already. Remember, Daniels a great shot blocker, averages about 4.5 blocks per game. He had 4 of them last night in 10 extra minutes because of the 2 overtimes. He's got 3 blocks in 4 minutes tonight.
Yeah, those blocks are going to be interesting. We see Leifer going inside anyways against Daniels, and I do like it, even off the block. As long as it doesn't go into Penn State's hands, the Macs will take it. Leifer needs to be aggressive.
Daniels goes off. He does have the 1 foul. Halpert inside. Terrell missed the bank shot, and a strong rebound from Pedro Rodriguez. Baylor Carroll, he's going to try and run the floor. Tries to feed inside, and that pass took a hefty deflection, went all the way to the corner. It'll stay with the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, and so far, Macs only shooting 3 for 10 from the field. We saw them shoot 60% on Friday.
First media timeout. This could be a good one, an offensive affair with a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line.
Diving in college taught me to strive and be the best athlete I can be, but also the best student I can be. My coaches always made sure that the student comes first, because not everyone's going to become a professional athlete. So they make sure that we will do great in academics. I knew that would only open the door to my future, and I'm really excited to start my dream program for physical therapy.
(8-7) the early lead for Penn State Harrisburg in this one over Yeshiva as this second round matchup commences here on HopTV. Baylor Carroll off a screen for 3, hits again. He's got 2 of them so far. Hit 9 threes to help accumulate 45 points last night. And Danye Baylor-Carroll, the sophomore from Harrisburg, the hometown kid for the Nittany Lions, as that one falls off for Terrell, the NEAC Player of the Year. He's hot early. He's got Terrell on him. As you said, Akiva, in the open, a foot difference in the height there as Terrell forces the miss. Rebound inside will stay with the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, if you give Baylor-Carroll a sliver of space, he's going to jack. Terrell may have a foot on him, but he's not getting a hand up in Baylor-Carroll's face, which is allowing him to get those open looks. They may not be so open, but for Baylor-Carroll, anything is open.
They throw away the inbounds pass as Donnie Katz has the steal. Terrell trying to run, and 3 Nittany Lions converge on him and just force him to pass it in the break. And it works out for Penn State Harrisburg. They slow up the Yeshiva fast break there. Harrisburg back into a man-to-man defense here as Leifer has it up top. Now Simha Halpert. Cross-court pass to Leifer inside. And they're going to call a blocking foul before the shot, as I thought initially they might go offensive foul, and I was about to make a comment if that was an offensive foul because that was just a good basketball play down there, and it'll be a underneath out of bounds for Yeshiva as Donald Friday Jr., son of head coach Don Friday, will enter for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, we see the Macs on some of these possessions taking the shot clock down, which is what they're known for. But on some of these possessions also, they're taking mid-range jumpers with 20 seconds left on the shot clock, not something typical for Yeshiva.
Ryan Terrell, 2 for 5 already. He's missed 3 shots. Remember, he only missed 3 shots all of yesterday. It was 13 for 16. Halpert, and again, we have a foul on the floor against the Nittany Lions before the shot as Baylor-Carroll is going to pick up his first personal. And now the shot blocker, Dylan Daniels, with the 1 foul already, will re-enter the game.
Yeah, 3 fouls for Penn State in the first 5 minutes. Something obviously to look out for critically because they only really go with a 7-man rotation.
And they might have to dip a little deeper into that as Halpert goes inside. Had the big advantage over Baylor-Carroll, but he just missed the layup, and a break for Penn State. Zachary Scott, a mid-range, and he left it well short. Not really his shot for the sophomore from Jersey City, New Jersey. Reef into the game, driving baseline, gets it, and the foul. Ofek Reef, the 2020 Skyline Conference Rookie of the Year, will go to the line to complete a 3-point play.
Yeah, he just provides an energy boost to the Macs. You saw on the fast break, just taking it straight to the hole for the N1.
And you have to play really well to win Conference Player of the Year as a bench player, because a lot of times it's just going to be guys who are starters as true freshmen and they put up the numbers and they get it. But to come off the bench and win that award, you have to do so much behind really 5 guys who are even sometimes producing more than you are.
Yeah, Ofek Reef, he may be the 6th man and he may have always come off the bench, but he receives the 4th most minutes for the Maccabees, ahead of Donnie Katz, ahead of Baralouf, who was the Mac starter throughout the year before Eitan Halpert filled in for these last 2 games.
Misses the free throw, a 73% shooter at the line, and it's still a 2-point lead for the Lions. Zachary Scott into the corner. Baylor-Carroll shoots again. This time he misses, and that one goes, did not go out of bounds. They saved it. Rodriguez, and somehow didn't travel there. Zachary Scott to Daniels. Now back to Scott. One of the backup bigs into the game here for Penn State Harrisburg. It's Josh Martin, as Rodriguez thought he got hit. No call. Remember last night, if you tuned in for the Harrisburg and Hopkins game, Pedro Rodriguez got called for a flopping warning on one of those threes when he went down like that. And look out for that again today, as it'll be 2 shots here for Reef coming.
Yeah, some interesting back and forth there. The Macs bench looking for a foul, then the Penn State Harrisburg bench looking for a foul. And then with the Macs on the other side of the court, Ofek Reef driving baseline for the 2nd straight possession, getting to the line.
So Reef, I just mentioned 73% free throw shooter. He just missed that shot that would have been a 3-point play, and now he misses again as he's off on his first 2 free throws for the freshman from Plano, Texas. So on this end, that foul on Dylan Daniels, the 2nd foul for the nation's leading shot blocker. So he goes out of the game as Reef has missed 3 free throws to start this one.
Yeah, both teams missing not just free throws. We're talking about from the field. Max 4 for 13, Harrisburg 4 for 11. Both teams struggling with this late start on Saturday night.
Baylor-Carroll with 15 to shoot. He'll go to his left. Gives it off to Rodriguez, stepping back. It's a long 2, and he missed everything. But He got the lucky break there as it went off Yeshiva.
We saw Baylor Carroll trying to create space for himself. Leifer switching onto him. Even against the 6'5 Leifer, who may be a little slower than Terrell, he was not able to create enough space for a shot.
7 on the shot clock for Penn State Harrisburg. They're trying to get it in. They do get it in, and a block from Leifer down low. He denied Clinton Asalu. Reef the other way, lays it in to tie the game.
Yeah, Reef with that energy, and Asalu, the backup big for Daniels, not known for his offense. He's there to screen, he's there to crash the offensive glass, but he is not much of an offensive threat.
Yeah, Asalu just about 2 points, 3 rebounds per game he's averaging on the season, as Rodriguez goes right into a double team and gives it off to Asalu.
Yeah, the Max help defense kicks in on that drive on the baseline.
8 to shoot. Rodriguez across the lane, spins it up off the rim, no good. And Leifer with another rebound. Gabriel Leifer, he's been big down there. He's got now 7 boards. Simha Halpert for 3, and it rims out.
And now we see Penn State slowing it down, getting into their half court. They run a couple of set offensive plays. Screening the screener is one of them, and we see it here.
Baylor Carroll can't leave him open. Fadeaway 3, airballs it. And we kind of saw this last night a little bit. He's almost a better shooter when he's covered, as that shot's no good. And Asalu grabs the rebound. Outlet pass to Scott. Slips through the lane, throws it up, no good, and Leifer has another board. Make it 9 boards already for Leifer.
Yeah, he had 24 in the Max championship game.
Halpert gets that one to roll home, and the Max take a 2-point lead as Don Friday is going to call timeout. 12:02 to go in the first half. Still been good offense, but the team's struggling a little bit to shoot it compared to how hot they were in yesterday's game.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
.12:02 to go in the first half of this one. Connor Newcomb, Akiva Poppers with you here on HopTV. And Akiva, far stretch from what we saw from these two teams yesterday. At this point for both these teams, they're shooting about 60%. Right now, Penn State Harrisburg 25%, Yeshiva 35%. And as I say that, Pedro Rodriguez knocks down a 3, but still, both teams, it's hard to find that kind of shooting touch that they had yesterday.
Yeah, but once again, I do expect it to show up at one point. You can't expect anyone to shoot 60%, though, in 2 straight games.
Inside, beautiful pass from Terrell to Reef, and Reef puts the Max back on top.
Yeah, Reef with the cut to the basket, catching the Penn State Harrisburg defenders off guard.
So a good start for both of these sides. Kept it close as Curry hands off for Zachary Scott. And we got a foul inside. It's going to go against Terrell. And Ryan Terrell is going to pick up his first personal.
Yeah, and for the Max, out of that timeout 1 minute ago, we saw Tyler Hode check in. Hode, not known for his offensive prowess, he is in there for his basketball IQ and defense.
Hode covering the ball here, the senior out of Teaneck, New Jersey. Asalu gets fouled, and now Leifer picks up his first personal.
Yeah, and Leifer, maybe his first personal, but he is someone who cannot get into foul trouble, just like Daniels couldn't get into foul trouble, and he is. Leifer, an important presence down low for the Maccabees.
Clinton Asalu, he's had a solid senior year, and he's come on as of late, but he struggles mightily at the free throw line. Just 40% on the season, but that one falls in to tie the game at 15.
63.
Asayu missed his only free throw attempt in last night's game, but he hits 2 for 2. You don't see that a whole lot from the senior out of Willingboro, New Jersey, but he puts his team back on top. As we see another new body in there for Penn State Harrisburg, Charles Faulkner, who did not play last night. Number 23 in white, the freshman out of Woodbridge, Virginia, appears for his first time in this regional.
Yeah, interesting to note, Penn State wearing the white, neither team technically the home team, and they arrived in the white, so the Macs just put on the blacks.
Curry misses the jumper, and Halpert has the rebound, so interesting to see Faulkner in there. And we'll see how long of a run he gets here for the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, the fatigue could kick in, which would explain why the Penn State would dig deep to the bench.
And that shot is up and good. Simcha Halpert with a 3, and he puts his team back on top by 2.
Yeah, Halpert 20 points in the Max game against WPI on Friday, including 2 for 4 shooting from behind the arc. He is a sharp shooter.
And Reef has the steal. Reef to the rim and lays it in. And the lead up to 4 for the Macs.
Yeah, Ofek Reef, 8 points for the Maccabees, 4 for 4 from the floor. He is providing not only energy, but a burst of scoring for Yeshiva.
And Coach Don Friday is going to get Pedro Rodriguez back into the game. He's played it well on both ends so far in this one. And he needs them back in there. Faulkner gets open. See if he's going to take a shot at any point. Scott going right around Hode. Hode got a piece of that shot, and it's still loose. And the Macs touched it out of bounds. I think Hode's foot was on the line as he tried to save it.
Yeah, it was. Hode and Terrell both going for that ball. And Rodriguez checks back in for Penn State Harrisburg, as does Daniels with 2 fouls.
Yeah, so for Faulkner, it was a pretty quick run for him. He hadn't played in the last 4 games before appearing in this one. And Asayu goes to the bench as well as Rodriguez, and as you said, Daniels checked back in.
Yeah, and if Penn State Harrisburg is going to come out in a zone, do not be surprised if the Macs, who are not known for their middle drives, just try to pick a lane and go after Daniels.
Daniels turns with the jumper and hits, and that's what he did last night, which made him so good against Johns Hopkins, was hit those jumpers, and he gets one to go right there. Into the zone for the Nittany Lions. Yeshiva moving it well. Leifer wide open. They're going to let him shoot, and he missed it. Rebound to Curry.
Yeah, Leifer is a strong shooter from behind the arc, 39%. But when you leave him open, he's even more than that, about 50.
And Rodriguez answers with a 3, and all of a sudden, little 5-0 run from Penn State Harrisburg. And they go back on top by 1. Pedro Rodriguez having a nice day.
And that's just Terrell with a cut.
And Terrell on the other end with a finish.
Against the zone, those backdoor cuts will work for the Macs. Teams are really trading leads so far in the first 11 minutes, Connor.
Yeah, we're going back and forth here inside of Goldfarb. Zachary Scott out to Rodriguez. He shot it well. Reef all over him defensively. Now Reef on to Baylor Carroll. They got the switch they wanted, I think. Little smaller defender on their best player. Tries the floater. That's a really tough shot. And Leifer now has 10 rebounds.
Yeah, Reef might be smaller, but he is very athletic. And if Terrell is not on Baylor Carroll, Reef would be the person who the Macs would want on him.
They go to Terrell, tries a mid-range. He's struggled with the mid-range so far today as Baylor Carroll has the rebound. He's going to try and go coast to coast, flips it up, no good. Daniels with a follow.
Yeah, Dylan Daniels now 7 points for Penn State Harrisburg, who retake the lead with 8 minutes to go.
Hode still in there as he'll kick to the corner. Leifer kind of playing in that middle of the zone role right now as he'll kind of facilitate from that spot. It's the best place to beat a zone. He goes to Reef, and Daniels has his 4th block. Scott up the floor. Curry tries the mid-range. That is his shot, but it rims out.
Yeah, Curry loves to take that mid-range in the 3. He was 7 for 7 last night from inside of the arc. His first mid of the tournament from in there.
Halpert go to Leifer, and there's a block from Baylor Carroll, but Leifer gets the offensive board and scores.
Leifer now with 11 rebounds, and that is what he does. Even when he misses, even when he's blocked, he sticks with it and puts it back in.
We've seen that a couple times. Once a block from Daniels, and he put it back. That time, a block from the point guard from behind, but he stayed with it. Daniels goes right to the rim and flips it up and in.
Yeah, Leifer with no answer there on the defensive end for Daniels.
It's been a really good one so far from Baltimore. As Penn State Harrisburg now into a little more of a matchup zone. They'll go to Leifer. He goes to the rim, and we're going back and forth offensively.
And that's what I like to see from Leifer. Even though he's only 3 for 10 now from the floor tonight, I want for the Maccabees Leifer to get closer to the basket If he gets in the low post, he will have an opportunity against the help to dish out for an open three, against no help just to go up with the ball.
Daniels going at Leifer, and he left that one short. Leifer's got another rebound. Hode still in the game, giving the Max some good minutes here. So go to Terrell now in the middle of that zone. Halpert, contested three. That's no good.
Yeah, but you leave your hand down against Halpert, and he's just going to jack. Penn State Harrisburg has to keep their hands up if they want to stop Halpert from just pulling the trigger.
See some subs for both teams at the next whistle, which will also send us to a media timeout. And there's our whistle as Scott turns it over. 6 minutes to go in the first half. It's been a good one. Back and forth between Penn State Harrisburg and Yeshiva.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go on a personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental.
Six minutes on the dot to go from Goldfarb Gymnasium in our NCAA Division III men's basketball tournament second round matchup. The Nittany Lions and the Maccabees, and Yeshiva with the ball and a 1 point lead. And Penn State Harrisburg, they've made some threes on offense to keep themselves in this game, but inside the arc, they've struggled a bit.
Yeah, they have. Just 5 for 19 when not taking threes, but they're 4 for 8 from outside.
And Terrell gets himself open and hits the floater. Ryan Terrell, remember the 41 points yesterday was a career high for him. As he hits that little floater, he's got 9 in this one.
Yeah, he loves that pivot spin, and against the zone, it is going to be lethal.
Daniels in the game with the 2 fouls. Here's Donald Friday Jr., he's back in there. Curry, tough shot, and it goes, and a blocking foul. And one for the freshman Nate Curry, the 6'3 guard out of Brooklyn, New York, who was the NEAC Rookie of the Year this year. And he'll get a chance to tie it at the free throw line.
Yeah, and Reef thought he held his ground, but he did not. And Penn State Harrisburg with a chance to tie the game.
So Reef, again, a good sign for Yeshiva, just his first personal foul. So Reef, Halpert, that is Eitan Halpert, Terrell, and Leifer each have 1 personal, but nobody in foul trouble for the Max at this point. Curry, a 68% free throw shooter, and he ties the game at 28.
Yeah, and out of that timeout, we saw Donnie Katz come back in for the Max, the senior leader, who will be taking Daniels defensively, and Daniels is on Katz when the Max are on the offensive side of the ball.
Nice job by Reef to corral that one and avoid the turnover, and Harrisburg back into man-to-man. Halpert gives off to Katz. He got Daniels in the air, and a big play by Katz. Listen, he does not win the athleticism matchup with Daniels. He does not win the length matchup, but right there, he makes a smart play and gets him into the air and gets him his 3rd foul.
Donnie Katz, the basketball IQ man for the Max, and he just pump faked, and Daniels has 3 fouls, and that is trouble for Penn State Harrisburg.
And when you're Daniels, obviously, you want to go get that block. You're a shot blocker, and you can do that when you have no fouls. You know, you pick up your 1st at this point in the half, not a big deal. But when you have 2 and you know there's still 5 minutes to go in the first half, you got to stay on your feet, because even if he's not way up in the air, he's still a good shot blocker.
Yeah, and that is one of the issues which Penn State Harrisburg does have. They are able to fall for those shot fakes and pump fakes, and Donnie Katz just with a smart play there, arguably the reason why he was in the game.
He gets 1 out of 2 at the line to put his team back on top. The senior out of Baltimore in his homecoming in this regional. And Friday walked with it.
Yeah, Eitan Halpert straight up defense. Friday had nowhere to go.
So Halpert and Leifer are going to come back in the game, as they're going to get Reef and Hode. And both of them, obviously Reef with some scoring involved, but both gave some good minutes there.
Yeah, Reef, 8 points for Yeshiva, 4 for 5 from the field. And Hode, not here to stuff the stat sheet. He's here to just be smart defensively.
Yeah, and you look at the stat sheet, you say, oh, you just played, 4 or 5 minutes. No shots, no rebounds, no assists, no fouls, but head coach Elliot Steinmetz knows that he's still giving him what he wants out on the court. Still in a man-to-man for Penn State Harrisburg. Halpert with a mid-range, got hit from behind, and he'll get 2 shots at the free throw line. And you'll take the fouls at the rim, I think. You don't want to be fouling the Yeshiva jump shooters.
You don't, but what we saw there was an off-ball screen, which the Macs do. Very few teams in the country run off-ball screens. Halpert was able to come left curling, which allowed him to get in open space for that jump shot.
And big right there. That's the second personal foul on Danye Baylor-Carroll, who, of course, scored the 45 points yesterday, as he picks up his second. And he, talking with his head coach Don Friday, he will stay in the game. Rodriguez will go in for Don's son Donald here, as Halpert missed the first free throw.
Yeah, but some dangerous territory for the Nittany Lions. Very, very dangerous territory. Can you imagine if Baylor-Carroll and Daniels have 3 fouls in one half?
Yeah, those are really been their 2 most productive players both yesterday and so far today, and you can't really play with both of them on the bench. 2-point lead for Yeshiva. Rodriguez goes right in and scores. Got a couple of screens, and he ties the game. And again, back-to-back games where Pedro Rodriguez really shining for Harrisburg as he scores again, and he's got 8 points.
Yeah, Rodriguez is a 6th man for Harrisburg, but he started this matchup.
And a 3 from Terrell, got hit. And again, they foul a jump shooter. He'll get 3 shots.
And now Rodriguez with 2 fouls. The Nittany Lions with 8 overall.
And you could argue now their top 3 performers in this game so far each have 2 fouls, with Rodriguez not normally maybe that guy, but last night he was great, and today he's been good again.
Yeah, Rodriguez played 45 minutes off the bench in that 50-minute game against Johns Hopkins, 6 for 9 from the field, and he shot 50% from behind the arc.
So the first one goes for Ryan Terrell, the sophomore from Los Angeles. 80% free throw shooter, as he'll get 3 at the line, and he buries the first 2. And he gets 2 out of 3 as Zachary Scott has the rebound.
Yeah, and incredible to think it's looked like Terrell has struggled so far, and he has compared to Friday, but he's still shooting 4 for 8 from the field, which the Macs, the team with the best field goal percentage in the country, will take.
Baylor-Carroll gives off to Curry, goes up for 3 and hits it. And that's what they'll need. If Baylor-Carroll's going to have Terrell on him, he's just simply not going to be able to get off as many shots as he did last night. So they need guys like Nate Curry to step up and hit some threes. A 44% three-point shooter was Curry. That was second best in the NEAC this year. Leifer, he's got the mid-range if he wants it. Instead, goes to the corner, and the 3 goes down. Eitan Halpert answers with a long ball.
And his first bucket tonight for Eitan Halpert. Halpert against WPI, 34 minutes, and he had 14 points. He has been extremely impressive for the Maccabees in their last 5 games.
Baylor-Carroll gives off to Curry, tries a 3, rims out, and Leifer has another board, 13 for him. And a nice play by Baylor-Carroll, picks off the pass. Going to try to go 2-on-3, and he'll smartly slow it up. Extra pass, Rodriguez, he's feeling it in the corner, no good. And Curry's got the board. Right into Leifer, and he scores to tie it at 35.
Yes, strong take there. Penn State absolutely sticking with the Macs to the first 17 and a half minutes.
This has been a great game so far. Inside, Katz puts it in.
Yeah, another pump fake for Donnie Katz. Did not draw the foul, but did draw the defender off his feet and make that 2 much easier.
The Penn State bench and the Yeshiva bench each doing their jobs to try and pump some noise into the arena here. Baylor-Carroll looking to get open. Instead he finds Curry, who's open, and he misses a 3.
Yeah, hand in his face for Curry, who prefers obviously to shoot it when it's open, but just like Baylor-Carroll, take it with any sliver of space.
And Halpert hits a 3 in the corner. And a little 5-0 run for the Macs. They go back up by 5. Zachary Scott, that's a really tough shot. And somehow Halpert picked it up before it went out of bounds. Eitan Halpert goes right at Curry, Reverse layup, and he got it to go. High degree of difficulty there.
Yeah, incredible play from Eitan Halpert. The Maccabees with their biggest lead of the game at 7 with 1.5 to go.
A 7-0 run for the Macs here after PSU-Harrisburg tied it at 35. Baylor Carroll, fall away shot, no. Curry with a board. Baylor Carroll in the corner, got that one. Answers with a 3 like he did time and time again in the double overtime win over Hopkins last night.
Yeah, and Baylor Carroll now 3 for 5 from outside the arc. He's the man who the Penn State Harrisburg team will rely on down the stretch should this game get close.
Halpert misses a layup right at the rim. And it's a 4-point game. You look at the game clock and shot clock, about 50 on the game clock, and they're going to stop it to get the net down.
And that's very helpful for Penn State Harrisburg. With that timeout, they are able to go for that 2-for-1, take that shot in the first 10 or so seconds, and they will get it.
And they'll be able to draw up a play coming out of our final media timeout of the first half. It's been high scoring as expected here in Baltimore. .45 seconds and counting left in the first half. Here on HopTV, Penn State Harrisburg with the ball down by 4 to Yeshiva in this second round matchup. See if they try to go for the 2-for-1. Lost that chance, but Baylor Carroll misses a jumper. Katz with the board, and the shot clock is going to stay on, but it's basically maybe 2 or 3/10 of a second difference. So in reality, the Macs can take the final shot of the half.
Yeah, and we saw Baylor Carroll trying to get a 3-pointer off with about 5-second differential shot clock, game clock, but Donnie Katz hedged, forcing him to take a long 2 in order to try to grab for the 2-for-1, which he was not able to get.
8 to play in the half. They go to Terrell. He drives baseline, pulls up, tough shot, got it. Just before the buzzer, Ryan Terrell, a contested jumper on the baseline for 2, and it's a 6-point Yeshiva lead here at the half. 44-38 is our score as Yeshiva and Penn State Harrisburg, really a high-scoring half.
I'm doing it. Just start to talk about how it was high scoring. Two questions.
And we're with Coach Elliot Steinman from the Yeshiva University Maccabees. Coach, first half you guys shot both 50% from the field and 50% from 3. What does it take to get hot on these Saturday night games where you guys are coming here about 1 hour, 15 minutes before the game starts?
I'm surprised we're shooting that well. They're defending pretty well. I don't think we're shooting too well from the foul line. Honestly, it's just about our guys getting in the gym and getting shots up early. This is nothing that we're not used to. We played, I think, our last 5 Saturday nights we played, other than Championship Sunday. The 5 weeks before that, we had Saturday night games. Our guys had a chance to get used to it.
And against the zone, which Penn State has been throwing out there a lot, what's the main goal? Do you want Leifer to get further down, or do you want to just kick out to those shooters?
I think we like to work out of the high post a little bit, try to get, try to pick it apart from there, put Leifer, Terrell in that spot. They both can turn and make something happen from there, whether it's passing or going to the bucket or pulling up. It gives us options.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it, guys.
That was head coach Elliot Steinmetz at the half. His Macs leading at 44-38 as we hit the break here on HopTV. Joined here at the half by Penn State Harrisburg head coach Don Friday. And coach, first of all, Dylan Daniels gets that third foul in the first half. How do you kind of approach that the first 5 minutes really of the second half?
We can't have any foolish, any bad fouls where we not moving our feet or moving screens, because he's such a big part of what we do. Got a moving screen there early, and then we had 2 where they got into his body, and we just got to react better. We talked about it at halftime, and we adjust it, and he'll make that adjustment.
And for Danye, he's still getting good shots off, but they've got Terrell on him a lot, who's got a foot on him. Do you have to find other ways to get him just a little more space because of that height advantage?
Well, we have to play through Dylan Daniels, and once we can play through him and get the ball inside, it's going to settle us down. It's going to open up stuff for other people. They're just pushing out on us right now. It's like a team in the NFL. They can pass, but they can't run. You got to have a balance, and we got to stop being so dominant on the perimeter.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. That was head coach Don Friday there of Penn State Harrisburg as his team trailing by 6 here. As we get set to start the second half, we'll be back in 30 for the second half of this one on HopTV. Welcome back inside of Goldfarb Gymnasium. Connor Newcomb and Akiva Poppers with you here on HopTV. At the half, Yeshiva with a 44-38 lead over Penn State Harrisburg. It's been a good high-scoring offensive first half between these two squads. And now 20 minutes to decide who and which school will make their first ever Sweet 16 appearance in the Division III men's basketball NCAA tournament. Yeshiva in the all-black, the Nittany Lions in the all-white, as the Macs will start with the basketball in half number 2. And in that first half, Akiva, it was, Danye Baylor-Carroll who got his threes off, but didn't shoot it too well from inside the arc, and they missed Dylan Daniels with the 3 fouls, so they need those two to get going a little bit more in the second half.
Yeah, Baylor-Carroll 3 from 5 from outside the arc, but just 0 for 6 from inside.
As Eitan Halpert stepped on the end line and a turnover on the first possession for the Macs.
Yeah, Donnie Katz trying to find him cross court was just a little bit off, and Penn State will get their first taste on the offensive side of the floor.
And for the Macs, it's just their second turnover right there. They just had 1 turnover the entire first half. Even when you're a good team who really doesn't cough up the basketball, you're going to have most halves with more than 1 turnover.
And it's something which Yeshiva struggled with at the beginning of the year. They have cleaned it up a little bit in recent times.
Daniels has the advantage with the height over Katz, but he just missed the shot short. Starting this second half with the 3 personal fouls as Terrell hits the floater on the other end.
Yeah, Ryan Terrell finding that open space inside for that little floater, which he does love to shoot, in Yeshiva up 8.
Largest lead of the day for the Macs as they lead it by 8 here to start this second half. Baylor-Carroll had to pump fake in the air and still hit the 3.
He's incredible. Baylor-Carroll is now 4 for 6 from behind the arc. Just that tiny bit of space, all he needs is an inch, and he will knock it down. Despite Terrell's height, Baylor-Carroll has been the hot hand for Penn State Harrisburg.
Halpert looking to answer. Got it. Eitan Halpert responds with a 3.
Eitan Halpert, same story with him. Anytime he gets opened, he will look to shoot. I said recent times he has been excellent for Yeshiva. At the beginning of the year, he was more of their 7th or 8th man. Now he's become a starter for the Macs.
8 points for Halpert now, as now he takes it away at half court. Pick the pocket of Zachary Scott and scores on the other end.
Yeah, it's something which he did a few times on Friday against WPI, known for those steals. Active hands for Halpert, and Yeshiva is now up 10.
Largest lead for the Macs. Rodriguez in the corner to answer. It got tipped, and Curry's got it. 13 to shoot. Rodriguez tries again. This time he got it off clean, and it goes.
Yeah, and we see Leifer on Rodriguez, and Rodriguez knows that Leifer does not want to come out so far. He realizes that he's got the mismatch from the outside, and he's just jacking threes.
11 points for Pedro Rodriguez. Starting in this one is Halpert gets the shot to go inside. Starting in place of the freshman Chris Haynes, who got the start yesterday but then didn't really play down the stretch against Hopkins. Rodriguez took most of his minutes. We weren't sure why. And now today, Chris Haynes, who's been a starter all year, not dressed for Penn State Harrisburg in this one. He is on the bench but is not dressed for this game, so that's why Rodriguez replacing him in the starting lineup.
And as Leifer picks up that steal, it's important to note with the double overtime game from last night, the fatigue is going to kick in most likely very hard for Penn State, who's already in foul trouble.
Halpert has it. It's a 9-point lead for Yeshiva. Leifer against Rodriguez. He's got a size advantage and banks it home. Largest lead for the Macs now at 11.
And we saw Yeshiva against WPI come out of the second half hot. It's something which they have not done so well this year, but they've done in their last 2 games.
Don Friday calls timeout. Yeshiva with a hot start to the half, and they lead by double digits. .11 lead for Yeshiva University, the 13th ranked team in the country, best record in the nation on a 28-game winning streak, coming off a 102-78 win over WPI in the first round yesterday. Rodriguez dishes it off. Daniels into the game. Remember, he's got 3 fouls, but he gets a bucket on offense.
Yeah, Daniels has been critical when he's on the floor. 11 points now for Penn State Harrisburg. You mentioned YU is on a 28-game winning streak, but Penn State Harrisburg's won 15 of 16.
And that 3, no good from Halpert. And a rebound to Baylor Carroll. He's going to push it up to Scott. Now Daniels tries the foul line jumper, and he's short again on another shot. Goes to Scott. Baylor Carroll driving, looking for the step back. Rodriguez inside on Katz. It goes, and it's going to count plus the foul.
Yeah, and Katz, just like Reef earlier in the game, thinking that he was holding his ground, but once again, he was not. The referees and the officials in this game looking for any sort of twitch in the movement, and we have a timeout.
55-48 our score. Yeshiva leading Penn State Harrisburg in this one. Pedro Rodriguez, the sophomore from Palmyra, Pennsylvania, and Milton Hershey High School, got a bucket to go plus a foul on Donnie Katz, and coming out of the timeout, he'll get a chance to make it 3. A 67% free throw shooter on the season, misses well short, and he just gets 2. Connor Newcomb, Akiva Poppers with you here on HopTV. It's been a good one in the NCAA second round. Winner to the Sweet 16 And for either team, it would be their first Sweet 16 in program history. Terrell gives off for Halpert, and an offensive foul is called. Shot not going to count, as it's going to go against his brother Eitan Halpert for an illegal screen.
Yeah, the Max with those off-ball screens, but Halpert once again moving into the defender. That's just the 6th total foul on the Maccabees this game. None of their players are in foul trouble, although Halpert, the younger brother, Eitan Halpert, now does have 2.
Baylor Carroll hasn't scored yet in this second half. It's Rodriguez, Zachary Scott. Penn State Harrisburg with the double overtime win last night. Baylor Carroll, deep 3, way off.
His first miss from 3 this game, but that one was just an air ball.
They took down Hopkins 104-96 in double overtime in this building last night. As a corner 3 goes down for Eitan Halpert. Can't leave him open. He extends the lead back to 10.
Yeah, and Daniels a little bit scared to come out against Halpert, and Halpert just took it.
And Baylor Carroll gets 3 plus the foul.
Baylor Carroll, despite that air ball, he has been hot for Penn State Harrisburg. And once again, last night we saw him become the hot hand for Penn State. Will they go to him again to just be that guy who just completely takes over, Connor? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he had 45 last night, new career high for him. And today, after that 3, falls for the point guard. He's now got 15. He's 5 of 14 from the floor, but he's 5 of 8 from 3. And this is the first time he gets to the line tonight as he converts on his first free throw attempt, a 78% shooter. He got to the line a lot last night against Hopkins because he got fouled on a 3 different times. And he also had a couple chances at a 4-point play as a travel is called on Ofek Reith, who just came into the ball game here in the second half.
An excellent defense there from the Nittany Lions, who are now catching some momentum. Their bench is kind of getting into this game. And with 14:45 to go, they'll go with a set play, down 6.
I think a big difference, you know, I just said Baylor Carroll just shot his first free throw. He shot 13 of them last night and made 12. Zachary Scott off to Daniels, got fouled, and it wouldn't fall. The whole bench would have erupted had that gone into the basket. Instead, Daniels will get 2 shots.
Yeah, but they just ran that play to perfection. And now Penn State Harrisburg with a chance to really cut down into this max lead.
Leifer picks up his 2nd personal, 4th on the max. Penn State Harrisburg still hasn't committed a foul in the second half. And Dylan Daniels, you know, we talk about his stroke he's got, and he's a pretty good jump shooter. For a big man, this is what you love to see as a coach. He's an 88% free throw shooter, which is a coach's dream for their center, basically.
Absolutely. Daniels with the blocks, Daniels with the free throw shooting, and Penn State Harrisburg down 4.
And Daniels, he didn't get to show it off last night, didn't shoot a free throw in the win over Hopkins, but makes them both right there. And all of a sudden, it was a Yeshiva 11-point lead. It's down to 4. Leifer to Halpert. And he throws it off a foot. That'll be a kick ball.
We see now with Penn State Harrisburg in this zone, the Macs are trying to get the ball inside to a big presence in the high post to be the guy who will kick it out for those 3-pointers. Whether or not the Macs are able to knock down these 3-pointers, which most likely most of them will be open, will be most likely the deciding factor down the stretch.
Halpert goes right inside and scores against Curry. Curry really didn't contest that layup, and the lead is back to 6.
And it's something I mentioned earlier in the game, lots of lanes available for middle drives against his zone defense.
Little weave action for Zachary Scott. Daniels in the corner, going past Leifer, almost walked with it. Rodriguez open, goes right at Leifer, wouldn't go. Daniels with a board, his shot no good. A fight for it, and Leifer's got another board.
Yeah, 15 on the night for Gabe Leifer, and the Maccabees just pushing.
On the other end, Terrell hits a 3. It's right back to 9.
Yeah, and Terrell 2 for 2 from 3. Now he's 7 for 11 from the floor after a poor start. He's just been the story of this pod so far.
Baylor Carroll, tough shot, no good. Terrell with a rebound.
And the Maccabees now trying to ride this momentum up 9.
Tyler Hode back into the game. And they're into that zone still. Reith, wide open layup, and the lead has gone right back to 11 as we've got a stoppage for Ryan Terrell to tie the shoe here with 13-11 to go in this game. And Penn State Harrisburg had all that momentum, and then just like that, snap of a finger, 7-0 run for the Macs.
7-0 run in 1.5 minutes. The Macs known for these sudden spurts of offense. and they do it again here in a critical situation.
So can Baylor Carroll take over again? Donnie Friday back into the game. Curry, little crossover, step back, mid-range, and rattles it home.
Beautiful shot from Curry, who is so dangerous on that mid-range jumper. And Penn State Harrisburg absolutely not going away with 12:45 to go.
Halpert, they're back in man-to-man. He's working on Friday.
Jump to the ball.
Katz on the outside. He'll go into Terrell, somehow caught that, and then Baylor Carroll took it away.
Yeah, Terrell was calling for that in the post. He wants to start getting work down low.
Baylor Carroll into the contact, shot way off. Kind of a wild shot there from the sophomore.
Yeah, maybe pushing it a little bit. He's now 0 for 7 from inside the arc.
Leifer on Curry, almost knocked the ball away right there. A lot of hands on him, and good defense. Back cut, Terrell, got it.
That's where Yeshiva is so dangerous. Backdoor cuts against the zone. Donnie Katz finding him. Surprised that he wasn't willing to even think about shooting a three. He was all for that backdoor cut there. Max back up 11.
Penn State Harrisburg looking to answer. A couple wild shots from Baylor Carroll. He's open though. That's too much space for him, and he knocks down the three. And a flopping warning has been called on Danye Baylor Carroll. He did it all day yesterday, kicking out on the threes, and this his first warning. Now, the basket should count, but this will be a media timeout. 11:38 to go in this one. Can Penn State Harrisburg hang around, try and keep their season alive? That three did count for Danye Baylor Carroll. It's a 67-59 game, and Akiva Baylor Carroll is having a good day, 19 points. One of the weirder shooting lines you're ever going to see.
Yeah, 6 for 9 from 3 and 6 for 17 from the floor. 0 for 8 from inside the arc. Odd. I've never seen it before. I've just never seen it.
And sometimes in games you'll shoot better from 3 than from 2, but to not hit a 2 at all is something you don't see every day. And we got a foul inside, and it's going to go against Zachary Scott, grabbed on to Simcha Halpert, as it took 8 minutes, but almost 9 minutes. That's the first team foul on the Nittany Lions, and it's also the first personal on the sophomore Scott.
Yeah, basically the exact opposite story from the first half, where the Max had 4 total fouls and Penn State at 8. It's now 1 for Penn State and 4 for Yeshiva.
Scott covering Terrell in the post. Couple spins. Halpert open, wing 3, got it.
Yeah, and he does that little fake to Ofek Reef in the corner. That means that no hand's going to be in his face because the defender's going to Reef, and Halpert just knocks down the open 3 in the Max. Once again up 11. The question right now is, can they get it past there? They've had it there 3 times in the last few minutes.
They're 8 for 13 as a team from downtown. Rodriguez can't answer, goes in and out, and the senior Katz has a rebound. And not sure what the stoppage was here.
Perhaps some blood.
Yeah, maybe
on the hand of Terrell.
Yeah, and Ryan Terrell, you're right, spot on. Good eyes. Akiva had some blood on the hand. Referee went to immediately take the basketball, and now the athletic trainer is going to look at it here with 10:46 to go. It's an 11-point lead for Yeshiva. This is, again, matching their largest lead. They've led by 11 3 different times here in this second half. And for Baylor Carroll, I mean, the threes are going down, and he's hitting them, but you feel like he'll have to get some 2s to go, really, to get his team back in it.
Yeah, and based on that, I think that the Max should try to continue running him off the line if they're able to interesting to note right now is just the three-point shooting for both teams. Much better for Penn State, 50 to 38.9. A lot of that is Baylor Carroll. For Yeshiva, once again, they're shooting 60% from the field. Like we said earlier, best field goal percentage in the country for the Max, but 60% in 2 consecutive games is just absurd.
Ryan Terrell, 20 points. Simcha Halpert with 16. Eitan Halpert with 13. Ofek Reef with 10. They go inside to Reef. And look who's back in the game is Charles Faulkner, who played a couple minutes in the first half and didn't play in the double overtime win over Hopkins yesterday. Halpert open again. You just can't leave him open. He's too good of a shooter, and Yeshiva has its largest lead.
Yeah, Simcha Halpert, when he's left open from 3, you might as well say good night. 14 points now the Max are up. A tough deficit for Penn State Harrisburg to overcome.
19 for Halpert in this one so far. He had 20 in the win yesterday. Terrell racing after it. Curry on the ground. He gets it, and Faulkner controls. A break there for Penn State Harrisburg, and Faulkner gets hit, and a foul is going to go on Simcha Halpert.
Yeah, the first foul on Simcha Halpert. Lots of sloppy play there for both sides.
And Ryan Terrell's looking at his hand again right now. And see if there's any more blood. But he's in some pain right now. Not the shooting hand for the right-hander. It is his left hand, but still something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and the ref's saying that he was cleaned off, meaning that he has no blood which is visible, which is all that matters. But it will be interesting to note how that does affect Ryan Terrell's play down the stretch.
Terrell with 20 points to lead the team in scoring. Still 8 for 12. He missed 3 out of his first 5 shots, and then he's just been on fire since. Scott to his right, goes into Katz, offensive foul.
Yeah, that's what he was trying to do earlier. Donnie Katz, known for taking charges. He just sat there, and he was run right into by Scott. Second foul on Scott, and with under 10 to go, Yeshiva with a chance to really put this game in their control.
Tough game for Zachary Scott. Now, he does have 7 assists. He averaged just under 7 per game, which is 8th best in the country. However, he hasn't scored. He's missed all 4 of his shots for a guy who averages about 11 points per game.
Yeah, and Scott, he just likes to go right at the hole, and we saw it there. That's his game, especially offensively, just going straight to the hole, and obviously those assists. He had 10 against Johns Hopkins last night.
Out to Leifer. Halpert. They got Faulkner in there, I think, to guard Simcha Halpert right now.
And we see Terrell now trying to go to work in the post.
He's going on Scott, turns around, and they get the foul call.
Yeah, he's got those pivot spin moves down to perfection. So hard to see when he's faking it and not.
30-second timeout. Come here.
So a little 6-0 run for Yeshiva, and Don Friday calls timeout. Trying not to let this one get away from his team here in the second round. Yeshiva continuing to extend its lead in this one. The Macs trying to get to their first ever Sweet 16. Again, we mentioned it back in the first half. Randolph-Macon with a victory around the country earlier today. They took out TCNJ 85-71 in their second round game. So we know Randolph-Macon will be the higher seed. They will host the Sweet 16 game next weekend, and they will get the winner of this game at their place as Terrell misses the first of 2 free throws.
Yeah, that's a tough gym to play in down in Virginia. Randolph-Macon, considered by many to be, if not the best, one of the best teams in the country, would be a tough matchup, obviously, for either of these squads.
Yeah, Randolph-Macon was interesting this year because obviously Swarthmore went coast to coast as #1 in the D3 Hoops poll, and Randolph-Macon was in the top 5 for a while, but it was interesting if you look at the numbers, some of the other ranking systems that go deeper into the numbers, Randolph-Macon was #1 in those rankings for a lot of the year.
Especially defensively, we're not even close. They were the clear #1.
Daniels with a slam, and he gets 2 points back for Harrisburg.
Yeah, Daniels just going right to the hoop. knowing that Reef was in the restricted area and could not touch him.
Leifer inside to Katz. Probably doesn't want to shoot on the shot blocker, and the floater goes instead for Halpert.
Yeah, he was looking for that cut from Halpert the entire time. The flare from Halpert, and Yeshiva up 15 with 9 to go.
Into the corner. 3 goes up, and that's way off. Zachary Scotty's about a 30% shooter from deep. Doesn't shoot a lot of them, not really a shot, and he air balls.
Yeah, but he can hit them when they're open. It was surprising there to see that he could not even hit the rim on that one.
Leifer had it blocked and believes we're going to get a jump ball. The arrow will give it back over to the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, and the Maccabees shooting 62%, 64.3% from 3. Terrell with 21 points. We mentioned earlier it'd be Terrell and Baylor Carroll probably going right at it. And it really has, except that Halpert has really turned it on in the last few minutes. He's got 21 points for himself with an almost identical stat line to Ryan Terrell.
And we talked about how it's got to be hard to shoot like they did yesterday and do it 2 games in a row. Yet here they are. They shot at 61% yesterday as Daniels misses on the 3. Curry rebounds it, and kind of a smart play there. Threw it off Leifer at the last second to keep possession. But they shoot it yesterday from the field, just a phenomenal 61%. And you look at it today, you go, there's no way. They're right at 61% again in this one.
Yeah, and Daniels hit 2 threes last night. It's not his shot, but draws Donnie Katz out of the paint, so if he hits one, it could change the game plan for the Max.
Baylor Carroll misses another 2-pointer as Leifer blocks Daniels. The other way, Terrell, he'll get 2 shots.
Yeah, Ryan Terrell just running down the floor. The Maccabees with all of the momentum. They're on a 16-7 run.
And, you know, we talk about Daniels having 129 blocks coming into the day, over 40 more than the second-place guy in the country. But Leifer, no slouch with the block shots. He came in with 51 on the year, which was best in the Skyline Conference. So
yeah,
he's used to rejecting some players as well.
And he's used to ridiculous stat lines. He's got 18 rebounds and 8 assists tonight, just 8 points. Triple-double watch, however, for Gabriel Leifer.
Definitely on triple-double watch for the senior out of Lawrence, New York, a first-team All-Skyline player, the Skyline Tournament MVP. He averaged 17 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists in the 3 games in that conference tournament.
And in that championship game, 24 rebounds, 16 points, 12 assists. Just ridiculous numbers. The first time that had ever been done in the Skyline Conference game for Gabe Leifer.
So the lead is now 17. Again, it's the largest lead for the Max as we've got about 8 minutes to play. It was really back and forth the whole first half as Curry responds. A much-needed 3 for Harrisburg.
Yeah, and Curry has been excellent so far. When he gets open, he has been draining those shots. Penn State Harrisburg, if Baylor Carroll is not able to get open looks, will need to go to Curry down the stretch.
Reef down low, just a size advantage on Baylor Carroll, and he gets 2.
Yeah, and he has not only a size advantage, but he's got hops. He plays like he's 6'5", despite just being 6'1".
Get it, Donnie. 4 to 4.
Into the corner, Rodriguez, tough shot. No good, and a strong rebound from Terrell as Clinton Asayu thought he might have had it. Terrell, they just left him. You can't, and he hits.
Yeah, Terrell's an assassin. The Macs are up 19. Their bench is into this game, and Penn State Harrisburg is in massive trouble with 7 minutes remaining in this game.
And we talked about it at the Open. It just felt like, as we're going to foul on the floor, and we'll get to this when we come back from our media timeout, about how these teams shot yesterday and can you really sustain how they shot the ball, but Yeshiva has with a 19-point lead. Back here on HopTV in Baltimore, Connor Newcomb and Akiva Poppers with you. Yeshiva, they led by 6 at the half. They've opened up the lead to 19, their largest today, here with 7 minutes to play. And we had mentioned just a minute ago, Yeshiva shot at 61% yesterday. Could they really do it again? Well, they have. They're shooting 62% today, as Baylor Carroll is no good. But Penn State Harrisburg, they were phenomenal offensively yesterday as well. They shot 54% as a team to pull the upset over Hopkins, but you just feel like it's hard to sustain that, and that's shown for the Nittany Lions. They're just 37% today, and some of these crazy step-back shots that went in last night just haven't fallen for Don Friday's team.
Yeah, and overall, Penn State Harrisburg, an excellent shooting team. 47.8% on the year just from the field, 37.5 from three. Numbers which the Macs really haven't faced a lot this season, but Yeshiva themselves, they shoot 53% from the floor, 39% from three. Simply put, on paper, they're just a better shooting team.
And that's got to feel good for Ofek Reef. Remember, he missed 3 free throws in the first half, but rattles that one home as he goes to the line, and all of a sudden the Yeshiva lead is 20 as Reef has 13 and make it 14 for the freshman.
Yeah, and Penn State, they don't really play so up-tempo. They play about average tempo. It'll be tough for them to come back from 21 down, despite coming down from 8 with 3 to go yesterday.
Baylor Carroll finally gets a 2-pointer to go.
Yeah, that was a nice cut from Baylor Carroll. And it does get the Penn State Harrisburg bench a little bit into this game.
They got to create their own energy here in the gym as they're just trying to will their team back into it. They pulled the big upset tomorrow. We'll see if the slipper can still potentially fit for one of the Cinderella teams in the tournament so far. Is a couple of bench guys in there for Penn State Harrisburg. See number 13 in white, Josh Martin, the freshman at a Lower Marion High School. He played about a minute in the first half. He's back in there in the second half. Leifer goes up, Reef, and he didn't quite get the dunk, but he puts it in.
Yeah, that's a Maccabees special. They do that all the time. Those alley-oops on the fast break. Yeshiva's up 23, and it's really just hard to see a way here for the Nittany Lions.
And you see number 44 in white into the game as well, Robbie Bobek, the freshman out of Royersford, Pennsylvania, as he did not play at all in the 2 OT win over Hopkins last night. And similar with Bobek as Charles Faulkner, who we talked about earlier, 2 guys who didn't play yesterday, and maybe that's a little bit of the fatigue factor that they both get in today.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have a 7-man rotation and one of your best players is hurt. Starter hurt, that leaves you with 6. You've got to go really deep, and the Nittany Lions just do not have that depth.
So Zachary Scott got fouled, and he'll get to the line for a 1-and-1 here. Scott, a 74% free throw shooter, and he hits on the first one. So this Penn State Harrisburg team, they trail by 22 as Scott finally scoring in this game. That's his first point.
And Connor, we've seen them play zone and man, mostly zone, but some man. Do you think that Penn State Harrisburg is going to try to switch to a trap at one point in this game? Because otherwise I don't really see a path to victory for them.
Yeah, at some point you think they got to start pressing maybe just to try and get the ball back. But the way Yeshiva moves the ball and everybody out there can handle it, as Halpert just got hit with an offensive foul trying to post up Baylor Carroll, but it's going to be so tough. But when you're down 20 and your season's on the line, you have to go drastic.
Yeah, Yeshiva does play against some full-court presses in the Skyline Conference, but they're not great at breaking it. I would say they're solid at breaking the press.
As Baylor Carroll stepped on the sideline out of bounds. And Don Friday is going to use his final timeout. A 21-point lead for Yeshiva. They're looking to close it out and continue this magical run for the Macs. 5:25 to play. Don Friday out of timeouts for Penn State Harrisburg as they trail this one by 21. They led at points in the first half, trailed by 6 at halftime, but it's been all Max in the second half here at Goldfarb Gymnasium.
Yeah, in the last 9 minutes, Yeshiva on a 31-14 extended run. 31 points in 9 minutes is just offensive firepower that basically no teams in the country can match.
It's Leifer down low, turning to his left, and Daniel swats it. And even with his team trailing 21, he still shows off the shot blocking.
Yeah, that's his 5th of the night for the man who averages 4.6.
Curry will try a mid-range. We've talked about that's his best shot, and he sinks another one.
Yeah, Curry now with 17 points. He's catching up to Baylor Carroll with 4:47 to go.
Interesting matchup here. They put Josh Martin, the big guy, on Terrell, and he almost forced a turnover. Martin, 6'3", freshman forward out of Bala-Sinwood, Pennsylvania. Not a big-time scorer, more of a defensive guy here in his first year with the Nittany Lions, and just trying to get some height that will match Terrell a little better.
Yeah, but with that height, Terrell's just most likely going to take it from outside. He doesn't need to work in the post.
Halpert wide open again. If you shoot the ball like this team does, you look through the bracket. They've got some great teams ahead of them if they keep winning, but nobody's going to beat you if you shoot over 60% every night.
No one is, but I'll tell you what, the Macs don't shoot 60% per se because they're so skilled on taking just shots in general, as Baylor Carroll's 3 rims out. The Macs are hitting open threes, which are created by their offense. It's all an effect of the motion offense.
Baylor Carroll just hasn't been his night like it was last night. 45 in last night's game, but he misses the 3 there. He's still got 21, but he's 7 of 21 from the floor. Daniels threw it to nobody, into the bench, and it's a Penn State Harrisburg turnover. They didn't really turn it over much in this game. If you really break it down, that was just their 11th of the day, but they've just looked a little frantic on offense in the second half when they've gotten down by double digits.
Yeah, and it's something I mentioned pregame. Terrell yesterday had 41 on 16 shots, while Baylor Carroll took 27 shots to get to 45. In a similar story tonight, Terrell with 26 points on 13 shots, and Baylor Carroll 21 points on 21 shots. It's taking Baylor Carroll a long time to get there, and in that time period, the Maccabees are just shooting the Nittany Lions out of the gym.
Halpert with 6. Leifer, he might have to take a 3 here. Said he'll give it up. Eitan Halpert, and he finally missed one. Daniels will get the rebound. Baylor Carroll really took the game into his own hands last night. He's tried to do the same tonight. Just the same shots haven't fallen. Simcha Halpert. No good. Terrell with a follow slam. Putting the exclamation point on what looks like a win for the Macs.
Yeah, Terrell cleaning up the garbage with the big slam. The Maccabees, after that bucket, now up 22 with 3 to go. It looks like they'll be advancing to the round of 16.
And Halpert throws it away, and it's going to take it to our final media timeout. It's been all Macs in the second half. They are 3 minutes away from their first ever Sweet 16 appearance. Connor Newcomb, Akiva Poppers back here on HopTV. It's all Yeshiva. They lead by 22 with under 3 to play, and it's been a fantastic weekend for them. It's going to look like back-to-back 20-plus point wins as they're going to advance to the round of 16.
Yeah, and with just 3 minutes left, I would like to extend a thank you to you, Connor, and Matt Lawrence, the producer, for a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, thank you, Akiva. And it's been a fun weekend of basketball as Scott scores. Of course, the upset yesterday, the big shocker with Penn State Harrisburg taking out Hopkins 104-96 in double overtime. Of course, in that one, as Scott gets a steal, he'll go coast to coast, and he's got back-to-back layups. In that one, Connor Delaney, Hopkins starting point guard, leading scorer, and the Centennial Conference Player of the Year, goes out with an injury early in the second half. And Harrisburg was already playing well. They had the lead when he went out. Hopkins actually went up without him, but they struggled to close the game. They had an 8-point lead with about 3 minutes left and struggled to close without him. And what Penn State Harrisburg did was close big shot after big shot from Baylor Carroll. That was the big upset yesterday, and it gave us two good offensive teams, and the shots just haven't fallen as much for the Nittany Lions today as Donnie Katz will get an easy 2.
Yeah, another shot fake for Donnie Katz, and that upset, arguably one of the biggest in recent history. Matt Snyder's statistical model put them at a 10% chance to win coming in.
Baylor Carroll knocks down a 3 to get it down to 17 with about 2 remaining. So unless something drastic happens here for Penn State Harrisburg, as they almost force another turnover, and finally Yeshiva gets it over. Unless something wild happens here in the final under 2 minutes, is not going to help that Katz is getting easy layups. Penn State Harrisburg will finish the season 21-8, a 20-win season as Don Friday getting this Penn State Harrisburg squad to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history here in his 7th season at the helm. And not only do they get here for the first time, but they show up here to Baltimore in the first round. Everyone was pretty much just waiting and salivating at a potential Hopkins-Yeshiva matchup. Instead, they pull one of the biggest upsets really the past 10 years in the first round of the NCAA tournament, as the 3 is no good there. But what a season for Penn State Harrisburg as Scott hits a 3. And on the other end, Yeshiva into 100 for back-to-back games. But just, for Penn State Harrisburg, what a job they did just to get here, get that huge win. And I know they're going to be unhappy with the loss here tonight, but they can't hang their heads after a tremendous season.
No, absolutely not. Just you can just say coming into this year, their goal certainly was to get to the tournament, and not only did they accomplish that, beating the 6th team in the country here in Baltimore. It's just amazing for Coach Friday's squad.
So it's going to be a win for Yeshiva. They're going to take on Randolph-Macon down in Virginia next week. One of the best offensive teams in the country will take on one of the best defensive teams in the country. What a matchup that's going to be.
Yeah, Randolph-Macon, by all statistical models, the clear #1 in defense. But I must say in the ODAC, they really only do play ball screen. Who knows? Who knows what will happen in that game? The max motion offense against Randolph-Macon's best defense will be undoubtedly an incredible matchup to watch. One of the highlights, perhaps, of the tournament could be that game.
Penn State Harrisburg is going to sub out the senior Clinton Asalu in his final game right here. But for Penn State Harrisburg, that's the other big thing. He is the only senior on this Nittany Lions roster. And although he played a solid role this year, he came off the bench, which means they'll return all 5 starters next season. And this team is going to be a force in the NEAC again. And look for them to not only get back to the tournament, but it may not be a situation where they're an automatic 4 seed in a regional next year. If they can bring this whole team back, there's a chance they could be seated a little higher and have a chance to make a little bit of a run next season.
Yeah, it's what we saw with the Maccabees last season when they returned all 5 starters, and look where it's come. Penn State Harrisburg could be looking at an extraordinarily bright future.
Donnie Friday kicks to the corner as he gives it off to Kobe Petrovic. He misses the shot. And the subs in for Yeshiva as well, as the rebound goes to Kevin Boker. And he'll give it off to the senior Tyler Hode, as we had a inadvertent buzzer, as we're going to stop it with 1.5. That was odd. But Yeshiva is going to win this game. Back-to-back games, scoring exactly 102 points for the Max, who only did it twice in the regular season, and they're going to do it twice in this NCAA tournament. And Yeshiva just was assessed a technical foul, as I am unsure why.
Yeah, the ref's saying an administrative double technical foul, but it seems just like some work at the end of the game.
So they put time back on the clock, 5.1 seconds is.
And Coach Friday saying that he does not want to take the double technical out of respect for Yeshiva.
And so kind of an odd ending to this game here, as we looked like we were kind of flowing to an end, and then everything came to a stop. So Nate Curry is going to finish off an incredible freshman year, the 2020 NEAC Rookie of the Year, with a couple of free throws with nobody on the line. He'll get the first one to go down, but it's not going to matter at this point, as Yeshiva is going to get this victory. They're going to go to the Sweet 16 for the first time in school history. And listen, we've said it, and Randolph-Macon has a great defense. They're going to face even better defenses. But if they shoot 60%, it's really not going to matter.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I really want to see how the Randolph-Macon defends against the motion because they just haven't done it. And we see what it can do to other teams. What will it do to Randolph? Who knows?
So with the time running down here, that'll do it from Baltimore. The Yeshiva Maccabees, for the first time in school history, are headed to the Sweet 16 with a 102-83 victory over Penn State Harrisburg. For the Macs in this one, it was another big offensive day, and at the end of the day, they end up shooting 65%. Thought they couldn't shoot it any better than yesterday, and they did it today. Ryan Terrell didn't quite get 41 like he got yesterday, but a respectable 30 for Terrell, as the sophomore from LA had another outstanding game.
Yeah, solid total, I would say 30 is. 11 for 15 shooting from the floor and 3 for 3 from 3. Ryan Terrell, obviously the star of these last 2 games for the Macs.
Makes it 29 wins in a row for the Yeshiva Maccabees. You go all the way back. They lost that first game of the season, November 9th against Occidental College, a 72-60 win out in Los Angeles. Since then, 29 wins in a row for the Macs, and they're going to take that 29-game winning streak down to Virginia to take on Randolph-Macon, one of the best teams in the country. So a 102-83 win for the Macs. At some point, we're going to be joined here shortly by a Macs player here at the end of this one. As this Yeshiva team, what an incredible run they've been on, and it is not over yet for the Macs. 29. That's 29 straight wins. And we are going to be joined here. The sophomore guard, Ryan Terrell. And Ryan, listen, you got 41 yesterday. It seemed like everything went in. But today even seemed like a more impressive win for you guys. You get 30, spread out the scoring even more. Is that even better for you guys when you can spread it out?
Oh, absolutely. We care about letters, not numbers. All we care about is W's. So it doesn't matter who goes off that night. Yeah, so we'll find the hot hand. This is my boy Ofek touching me all over. Hi, Mom. We don't care about numbers. We care about if Simpla's going, we're hitting him. If Aton's going, we're hitting him. If Gabe's going, we're hitting him. So it don't matter.
Being in this program, 29 wins in a row. You got the longest winning streak in the country. But to be a part of the team that goes to the Sweet 16 for the first time ever at Yeshiva, is that feeling starting to hit you? What does that mean?
Hey, it's a great feeling. But we got to just stay focused, stay poised. We're trying to get a national championship in, so we gotta stay focused and take it one game at a time.
And what do you have to say for the Yeshiva fans that you guys are still in it and still going?
Man, they're amazing. They're best fans, best college fans in the country. You know, they're amazing. They really are.
Thanks, Ryan. Congrats on the 2 victories. And
right,
good luck next weekend against Randolph-Macon, as
awesome.
That's who Yeshiva will take on next weekend. So for the Macs, they win it 102-83, and they advance to their first ever Sweet 16 for the Maccabees. And what a weekend it was offensively for this Yeshiva team. So for our entire HopTV crew this weekend and my partner, Akiva Poppers, I'm Connor Newcomb signing off from Goldfarb Gymnasium. Yeshiva on to the Sweet 16. They win the regional in Baltimore. We thank you so much for watching on HopTV.